Mark, wow, my goodness. Jim Bennett, I think personally, one of the best performances you have given us. My goodness.
Thank you.
Was he a guy that was completely out of your comfort zone?
Well, yes and no. I think that the thing that I was most concerned with getting right was being believable as a literary professor. And thankfully, I had a great screenplay by Bill Monahan. He had really kind of outlined everything we needed to focus on and do, and then it was just a matter of putting in my homework and being prepared.
Let's talk about the preparation, because you have some pretty massive monologues. How does one do that?
The only way to learn those monologues is by reading them out loud, for me, every day, twice a day. I started reading the script out loud. The first time I actually gathered a group together to do a reading was August 22nd, and we didn't start shooting until January 21st. So every day for 4 hours, I would read the script out loud. And then I was insistent with the director that we shoot the lectures first. All the stuff in the classroom we did in the first 4 days, and the big lecture, which was 14, 15 pages, we did on the first day. You kind of get the heavy lifting out of the way and dive right in.
Yeah, wow, amazing. It just really was so compelling. And let's talk about getting into the mindset of a gambler, because Jim is also a little bit different. Just tell me your take on him, because I don't see him as an addictive type of gambler. It's a different type of
No,
gambler.
in the original, which were the debates that I constantly had with the original writer, whose life was based, the material was based on, was that their desire to gamble was based on the thrill in the moment, that he only felt alive when he was waiting for the card to be flipped over. And Jim was the opposite. He was using this as a tool to strip himself of all the material things that had been put in his life because of the family that he was born into. And so he basically just started dealing with these very dangerous people, didn't care if they hurt him or not. I was going to get rid of everything. If he was able to walk away, then he would walk away with nothing and hope to start over. And it isn't until he meets Brie Larson's character that he really feels like he has a reason to want to live again.
Yeah, and you were a big fan of the original, weren't you?
Yes.
Jimmy Caan. What was it like? Did you actually talk to him about playing this role and that you were going to be doing it?
Yeah, well, he was one of the first people that I called because I just wanted to, out of respect, reach out to him and tell him that he knew the movie was going forward, but I wanted him to let him know that I was stepping into the role, which he was very supportive of. And then I showed him the movie once we were done. And he's a great guy. He's been a friend and a mentor for quite some time. I worked with him on the Yards years ago. And he's like me. He's a neighborhood guy who just kind of found himself, lucky enough to get into this business and without any formal training, and had to kind of figure it out as he went along. So he's always been there to give me advice and guidance.
And his reaction to, I know you had a screening for him.
Yeah, he had tears in his eyes when he came out. He was thrilled with the movie, and he loved that we kind of did our own thing and made it our own. And nice enough to come and, talk to journalists with me and do a couple photo shoots, and he's a special guy.
Very cool. Yeah, you really went all out for this. I mean, you lost a lot of weight. You how do you stay kind of focused on set when you're not eating? You get miserable. Like, what is your demeanor like?
It was funny because the people were worried about me being really tired, and I just had so much energy. Rupert created a great environment that allowed me to really stay laser focused. And we were shooting. We had a very short schedule and a very tight schedule, so we were just constantly on the go. I mean, by the time I got home, I would go to sleep. Usually that's when I like to eat the most, at night. But I would just have to get in bed because I'd have to be up at 1 o'clock in the morning to train to be on the set at 3. All the running sequences throughout the end of the movie happened between 3 and 5 in LA, and the only time we could shut down streets. So we had very early days, and all the daytime exterior stuff was in the winter, so we only had daylight till about 4:30.
Yeah.
So I'd be in bed about 5:30, 6 o'clock every night.
Wow, good discipline, my friend. Very good.
It is good discipline. It definitely helps you stay focused.
Yeah. Tell me about your gambling experiences, just prepping for this. Was there any crazy moments? Did you, put down some cash?
Plenty. I won more than I lost, but I was gambling on things that I knew I could win. What we did start right away, we got a big deck of cards, a box of chips, and all that stuff. We started playing Texas Hold'em. We were betting on basketball games that we were playing, that we were watching. But my favorite thing to bet on was repeats of UFC fights that we would watch on Fox. I had already seen the fights. I knew the outcome, but my friends didn't. So I would convince them to pick the loser. But, we were just exchanging money back and forth. And then great trips to Macau, went to Vegas. And I took Rupert to a lot of underground poker games and private poker games, big high stakes games, where he saw, lots and lots of money in the pot, to the point where he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "How much is in that pot?" And I said, "Oh, probably about $5 million." And he was like completely dumbfounded.
Fair. No problem. $5 million.
Well, those guys,
Yeah.
they can afford it.
Insane.
You don't want to get in that game.
No, definitely
You
not.
lose your life savings in one hand.
More than that, yeah, for sure. I have to ask you, you're working with some, you've had the opportunity to work with some pretty damn good actors, but when you're working across somebody like John Goodman, and especially with the monologues and the scenes that you're doing with him, do you kind of still sit there and go, got to pinch myself, and am I still learning from people like this?
Oh, absolutely. It's just such a joy to see, a guy like him who comes in as such a consummate professional. He literally had that 5 or 6 page monologue in the FU scene, and, would mess up one line and like get so upset with himself. Really taking pride on being perfect and ready. And, Jessica Lange, we had such a great guy. George Kennedy. We had an amazing scene with George Kennedy, which actually didn't make it in the movie. We had like what would have been a 3-hour version of the movie that would have explained a lot more of Jim's backstory. But, when you're getting in there, you got to cut the movie, and so certain things just didn't make it. But working with all those guys, and the real draw was the material. I knew we would have a great cast because what Monahan does, even though Jim is a central character in his every scene, everybody really has the opportunity to have their moments. When I'm in the scene with John Goodman, he's really driving the scene, or Jessica Lange, and so, everybody knows that they get their opportunity to shine.
Well, you did such a fantastic job. This movie is just fantastic. I really love. My heart was beating so fast 15 minutes after the movie was over. I've never experienced that before.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it was so intense. It was awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I appreciate
And thanks for Wahlburgers in Toronto.
I'm so excited. That's our second one, yeah.
Doing really well.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mark.